Hi, I'm Magaibo, and today I'm going to kill all Sunesis. The Sunesis is a special edition destroyer that was given free to all players. That's the only way that you can get it, is by getting a one that someone got for free. They could have it up for sale, but you don't get blueprints for them, you can't make them. They're great ships. They're great because they have multiracial bonuses, but also they are fantastically good at aligning and getting away from places, particularly gates. So if you jump through a gate and you're in a Sunesis, it's going to be very difficult for any gankers to lock you, scan you, gank you. Because of these qualities, the Sunesis has become a desirable ship for people moving goods. I think my previous videos have shown about the dangers of moving high valuable items in small ships such as shuttles and corvettes. And for people who are moving valuables, maybe stuff that's too big to fit in those smaller ships, the Sunesis has become a really attractive proposition. Not least because so many were given away, so you might have them sitting around anyway. People may even be thinking that because they're in a Sunesis, a bigger ship, that makes them safer. The place where the Sunesis is weak is the place where all ships are weak, which is the docking point at a station. I don't intend to go over again too much of the mechanics of the docking point. Basically, I'm just going to say, if you warp to a station, there is a risk that you could fall short by a couple of kilometers, and that's where gankers can scan you and potentially kill you. And that's exactly what's been happening to some Sunesis pilots recently. And there's been a bit of a trend. We're seeing that the Sunesis is being used to ship high value items. So today what I'm going to try to do is kill 10 Sunesis and take a look and see what drops. I'm not in Jita. The reason being that the station in Jita has active bots. What does that mean? It means there are about 7 pilots, all with the same surname, and there are a couple of other pilots as well, that are using third-party scripts to scoop the loot quicker than a human could. So I've come to Amar. Amar is the second largest trade hub in EVE Online, and it's quite different to Jita. The 3 most popular gates in Jita are very close together and about 40-45 AU away from the 4-4 station, which is the trade hub in Jita. Which means that if you come through any of these 3 gates and then walk to the station, the docking point at the station is the same place. What that means is that 90-95% of ships arriving in Jita are landing at the same point, and that little cluster has become its own ecosystem. Amar isn't like that. The entry points to the Amar station come from different areas because the gates aren't clustered together. For example, if you were doing the trade route from Jita to Amar, Beziba is the penultimate system in the route, so this is the access point for a trade route. If you're warping in from Beziba and autopiloting, you would land at this point. If you were warping straight to the station, you would land at this point here, which is where I've got one of my looters. If you're coming in from Ashab, you would land here if you were autopiloting. Or if you were warping to the station, you would land here, which is where I've got my other looter. And Ashab is where the main independent player-owned structure for trade is next to Amar. It's the Amar equivalent of the Tranquility Trading Tower in Perimeter. So I'm trying to cover both of these here. My setup is 2 tornadoes. I have my trusty Jaguar as a looter at one entry point, and at the other one I have got a Gnosis, who is also my booster. So now it's just a matter of sitting tight, waiting for a Sunesis to come in and see if I can blow it up. I'm gonna try and scan them first, but if I find after a couple of tries that I'm not able to scan the Sunesis before it docks, I'm just gonna shoot them. I'm here to kill all Sunesis, not just scan them. Another advantage of being in Amar is there's less in the way of gankers, loot thieves, anti-gankers. It is quieter than Jita, but these are the trade-offs. So here's a Sunesis coming in here. Just gonna see if I can scan him. 28 mil. Now the fit that I've got in the Tornado here costs me about 98 million ISK. I have fit it with rigs that increase the damage of the guns, but the downside of that is it's taking quite a while for the scans to take place, the cargo scans. Normally when I'm ganking for corvettes, for example, I have rigs in it which decrease the cargo scanning time, so it is noticeably slower to scan the Sunesis here. Now here's the Sunesis and he's autopiloting. 5 million on board. My ammo costs more than that. Now the other thing that's quite fun to do with a Tornado at this point is to shoot blockade runners as they come in, which is a bit of a lottery. A blockade runner is a small, fast hauler ship which has got a number of things about it which make it quite attractive to haulers. It carries a lot less than a DST, a deep space transport, but it is immune to cargo scanners. It aligns at a gate even quicker than a Sunesis. It's just straight out of there. So you would tend to only be able to shoot them at a gate if there was pilot error. But if a pilot isn't using a bookmark to walk to a station when he's docking, then again they can be locked at this spot. So there can be some juicy kills from shooting blockade runners. Because even though you don't know what's on board, these ships may provide a false sense of security to pilots who feel like they can put whatever you want in there and then just go for it. But it's always a risk because it could be empty. But that's just the fun of it. And I can see me doing a kill all blockade runners video as well. Let's set out some ground rules then, okay? If it's autopiloting, I'm allowed to scan it. If it's just warping to the docking point and falling a couple of kilometers short, I've got to take a shot at it. And we'll let the chips fall where they may. This ship here may look like it's on the station, but it's a good 14,000 kilometers away, and that's just the perception there. Now a MAR is 1.0 security space, which is the highest that you can get. Even JITA's only 0.9. Perimeter's 1.0. What that means is I can expect to get just one volley off with a Tornado. It takes me 10 seconds with my skills to reload this gun, and by that point Concorde would have turned up, jammed me, neutered me, and my hopes of getting a second shot off are non-existent. It's quite interesting to be in such a different ship to the Thrasher, which is where I spend most of the time when I'm ganking. Your options are completely different, so it changes how you're looking at the game. And here is a Sunesis. Oh, he's bloody fit, isn't he? Well, I'm not going to let that put me off. I've got another Tornado ready to go. For me to break even doing this, I need to make 1 billion. This isn't about the ISK. Lots of people making comments on these kill all things saying, why are you doing this? You're losing money. This isn't a bad ISK scenario. Hey, I'm not doing this for the ISK. I'm doing it for the entertainment value. But if I was interested in the ISK, I would be looking at getting 1 billion over the 10 kills to make up for my costs. And that's just my ship costs. There's also my security status to repair. Ordinarily, I'd also factor in the costs of any ships that I might lose to kill rights being activated. But with the Tornado, you're sitting on the station, it's got a bigger tank. So if someone activates a kill right against you, you'd like to think you'd be able to dock before they were able to completely kill you. And right enough, the pilot that I just shot there has put a 30 million kill right on Magaibo. My second Sunesis is coming in. Oh my goodness. This isn't going well at all. I've been having a little think about what's been going wrong here, and I've got a couple of theories. One of them is I'm too close to the ships that I'm trying to kill. I'm wondering if I'm underestimating the tank of a Sunesis. So I've bought a couple and I'm going to try something. Just going to warp to Magaibo at, we'll say 30 kilometers. And my ult here has got a completely untanked Sunesis. So this is the range at which a ship would be coming towards Magaibo. So I'll just do that, and I would have these mods on, and we'll just shoot it and see what happens. It obliterates it. It's gone. And if I get a little look at the kill mail, 2,960 damage. So that was moving. It was moving towards me. And it definitely caused enough damage to kill it. So let's try that again, but maybe put a little bit of tank on the ship. So at least I've killed one Sunesis, even if it's one that I've had to pay for. Now I did ask the two different pilots that I shot at earlier if I could see what the fit of their ships were, and both of them declined, which is fair enough. Okay. So this time I'm going to fly, do exactly the same thing again, but with 3 medium shield extenders. Am I moving? I am moving. So I just check. My optimal's 29. Now it blew them up again. So we compare the two. The first one I've got damage of 2,960 and the second one 6,200. So I've done some homework, and it isn't that because I'm under my optimal range I'm going to do less damage, but it is that tracking has more of an effect if something's moving and you're closer to it. So I'm going to move a little further away, and hopefully I'll find a nice sweet spot where I can do the true damage that I should be doing. The other thing I've done is I've swapped out my looter to a Sunesis from the Jaguar. It'll have a more suitable sized cargo bay. And once I've got both my looters in the position, which is the point at which ships should be entering the station, then I'll be able to gauge exactly where my own tornado should be. All the while looking out for people activating my kill right. Here I'm 19 kilometers away from one spot, 21 from the other, so I am a bit further away. Maybe try going just even a little bit further. And I'm still 0 kilometers away from the station at this point in case I need to dock quickly. So I'll stop here, bookmark it. Despite the lack of success here, I am quite enjoying flying a tornado, which I don't normally do. It's opening up a whole branch of new targets for me. I tend not to fly bigger ships at all. Usually the biggest thing that I would fly would be, well, for PvP would be a destroyer-sized ship. If I'm doing PvE, I've got a Macarial or even an Ishtar that I like to bring out. They're quite fun, but you know, when it comes to PvE and level 4s, I feel like the missions haven't changed that much in years. So I think you could not run level 4 missions for years and then maybe think, oh yeah, I'll give that a try, and then you do it, and after about an hour you realise nothing's changed. And discussing this with some of my Alliance mates, they reckon that most people will be flying something like this. So 2 medium shield extenders, shield hardener, damage control, and 3 rigs, which will be far more than I can do with one tornado. That'll be able to tank me all day long. In doing this, I'm having to hope that what I'm hitting are some pilots with terribly fit ships. So wish me luck. The first pilot that I shot earlier, I said that I spoke to him, and he told me that he had 500 mil on board, which I suppose wouldn't be a terrible amount to get in a kill like this. Bearing in mind that my ship cost is 100 mil, and that on average only half of what you shoot, what you kill, drops. You're talking about wanting to aim for at least 200 mil if you were scanning people to break even, to have the odds of breaking even. Yeah, a full 500 mil drop, that would be nice. That I'm going to have to resign myself to the fact that every Sunesis that I want to kill, I'm going to have to sacrifice 2 tornadoes. So I've just been chatting to a ganker called Potato Cakes who's based in Amar, and I've just explained to him what I'm up to. And he's given me some useful info about potential loot thieves here. As I can see here in a Macarial, this is one of them. although he's gone quite far down. He's on the undock. It's quite odd, this station. When you come out of the MR station, you're facing down. It's like it's giving birth to you, and you're fired out the bottom of it. It's a very odd system if you're not used to it. Not least because these 4 titans, these avatars, and slow, much slower. But we'll get there. There's another Sunesis who's warped in directly to a docking point. I'm very impressed with the savvy of the pilots here to know to do that and to carry it out, to have the discipline to do it. Because as you can see there, it completely removes gankers from the equation. I can't get anywhere near them. Right, so here's a Sunesis. Oh. And I did get him. And he's 10 kilometers away. It looks like he was empty. So the order of events there was I shot him with Magaibo, and I was getting my second tornado ready to shoot him as well. By that point, he'd gone. Well, look at that. Nothing in it at all. This would be a terrible fit anyway. An expanded cargo hold makes your ship weaker. And the guy's got nothing on board. He had no reason to have an expanded cargo hold. And in doing so, he's given his ship away. I mean, it's a win, but it's a loss. Still hunting the Sunesis, but I've swapped out my loot ship. I've gone for a Wreath, which has got a larger surface area, so it'll be able to reach wrecks a little easier. But I've also stuck a 10 meganewton, is that what the MN is, on board, so that'll allow me to speed up. And here's a Sunesis. And we blew it up, so let's see what was on board. Very little is the answer. Well, that was nice and quick. I like it when things go quickly like that. Now, as we saw, there wasn't much on board, but we'll take a little look. Now look at that, it did have a bit of tank. The chap has tried to tank his ship. A couple of medium shield extenders and a multi-spectrum shield hardener. But again, what are we seeing? Expanded cargo holds and no cargo. That's a suicide move. I don't know who's telling pilots that if you're flying an empty ship, expanded cargo holds are a good idea, because they're not. So learn it here, learn it now, that is a bad move, and it helps people like me. If you're flying with no cargo, make sure your low power slots have got something there that helps your tank out. Put in a damage control, which increases your resistances right across the board. It's quite interesting. I think it's quite refreshing to change your environment and just go somewhere else, which probably applies to a lot of different styles of gameplay in EVE Online. Just go and do something different. It's certainly something that the co-op that I was part of, Stay Frosty, did with the whole Alliance, was to go on a summer vacation somewhere, pick another spot where we might get a few decent fights, go to a station there or take our own structure, set it up and just terrorize the surrounding areas for a couple of months. Call it our summer holiday camp. It does freshen things up, and I'm finding that at the moment. But it's part of the EVE lore, isn't it? The background, the stories, that you've got this station, and you can tell by looking at it, it's the Amar style, and it's rather palatial, and with the avatars, the titans in the background, even on this low resolution that I've got here, and it's so bright. When you're inside the station, it's so bright. It's just like I say, change of scene. I didn't want to shoot him because he's on the undock, and I don't have anything on the undock to collect any loot. But that was a Sunesis I managed to get a scan on, and he had over $500 million of cargo in there. Like I say, people think that the Sunesis is safe, and it is extraordinary to think that people are prepared to put $500 million in what is a destroyer-sized ship. Now, the reason that my overview was showing Coercer Thrasher and Catalyst is because the Sunesis, even though it's very different to all of these ships that are named here, is actually just classed as a destroyer. It's down in the market as a special edition destroyer. It's not within the normal T1 destroyers, but when it comes to the overview, it comes up as just a normal destroyer. That's how you filter it to be able to see it. I'm trying a slightly different position for the ships. I've moved it around to the side of the station here. I'm hoping the effect of this is that these ships that are coming in this direction will be more approaching towards me, so it'll cut down on the transversal. The angle at which I'm hitting them, the fact they're moving towards me, should make them easier targets. This is slightly different on this side. It might be more of a problem, but we'll try it, we'll see. Just one of the things you got to do is just keep trying. I could bring up the column for the transversal velocity here, but you get like a second or two in which to make the decision whether or not to shoot, and I think I've got to try and keep it simpler rather than making things more complicated. Okay, so there's a Sunesis gone. Let's go and see if he's got anything juicy on board. No, is the answer. In fact, the loot that my tornado dropped was worth substantially more than the kill. Let's have a look and see what we got there. Oh, what a surprise. Expanded cargo hold, a medium shield extender, and even that small cat battery. That's 32 mil. So that would have been the most expensive thing had it dropped. Why has he got an expanded cargo hold? Again, this is the running theme for this and many other of the ganking videos that I do, is people not understanding what it is that they're doing to their ships, to their empty ships. But you can see though, this is proof that this chap is using his Sunesis as a hauler. This fit is all about the most cargo that he can fit in there, and also getting out quite quickly, the inertia stabilizers. As I quite often say in these things, I'm going to try something slightly different now. This station, when things undock, they come straight down, and I've been trying to catch ships as they dock, but they dock from like about 5 different points. But what I know is that they all undock from the same point. So when they come straight down, they have to turn to warp out. Now with Jita, the undock when you come out faces 3 of the main gates, so there isn't an awful lot of call for insta undocks, which is a point over 150 kilometers that you have to manually set that you can warp to, a bookmark. If people don't have a bookmark, then when they come down out of a Mars station, they have to turn and then warp off. And that's the point at which I can scan them and shoot them. So I've moved my loot ship down to the off the undock point, and I'm going to try and get ships as they leave, rather than as they dock from 1 of 5 different points. So let's give that a shot. So in theory, we should have about 5 times as many targets if we're not looking at 5 separate entry points. So there's a Sunesis coming out. Obviously when it first comes out, it is immune from being targeted. And there it is. Didn't pop. It did not blow up. Your group of prototype siege cannons misses Nerga completely. My understanding is it would have missed completely because the Sunesis was undocking and invulnerable when it was undocking, and then he's turned to warp, and if he's got inertia stabilizers on, he's probably turned quite quickly, and if he's moving fast, then it would miss completely. It's registered that I've shot and said that I've missed completely, but I was at my optimal range and I was in a good position, so I can only think he wasn't going straight down, he was moving across the way. So I'm left with a humiliating 100 million loss and 0 damage caused. I'm probably quite a confused Sunesis pilot, wondering how he's just earned a kill right when there's no damage on his ship at all. Never mind, on to the next one. Another advantage to looting in this way underneath the station is that I only need one looter. It's not multiple points I'm trying to cover. So I can go back to getting my other looter into the boosting ship, and it will boost my tornado to be able to lock faster and to have better tracking on the guns. I can get a better view of the undock by looking at my looter here and then turning it round. So I can see the ships as they come down, and I can see where my looter is. And my looter's right on the edge of where you can dock. So if I'm taking my looter any further than this, he potentially could be exposed. Because when he loots the ship, now here's a Sunesis coming down. He barely got through the shield there. You could see that time. And you could also see that he shot him as the Sunesis was turning. So I bet if we're to look again at the log, we'll see 585. So I think between those two, it's safe to say that it's not a good idea to hit a Sunesis as it's undocking, despite everything I said before, because it's turning, which it doesn't do as it docks. As it docks, it's in a straight line, which is probably why I've had far more success and more damage done. But if it's undocking and not going in a straight line and turning, it's going to be too quick for me to be able to hit it. There's Sunesis coming in, and managed to get him. And another empty Sunesis. So a Sunesis that was docking but didn't use a bookmark just walked to the station and gave me a couple of kilometres to shoot. 3 inertia stabilisers and another 3 in the cargo bay as well, but not much in the way of loot. But another dead Sunesis. Onwards and upwards. So I give up. Amar was far too quiet. I've come back to Jita. I do have to contend with all of these bots in red, but there's far more traffic, so even if I don't get to scoop the loot, I will definitely get kills a little bit quicker than I have been in Amar. Just going to focus in on where my looter is there, because this is the docking point. And this is where I'm going to try and shoot. And the stuff that's coming in should be about 28 kilometres away from where I am. I actually just scanned a Sunesis with 11 bill, but I didn't set up to shoot it because I hadn't started recording, but it was 11 billion that was on it. But never mind, we'll get, we'll maybe not get 11 billion, but we'll try and get something that at least pays me back for all of the tornadoes that I've used so far. And here's a Sunesis here. So we'll just go for him. Oh, and he's gone. So let's have a look. He's empty. But he doesn't have cargo expanders on him, so that is something refreshing. I cannot believe this. I finally I finally get one to drop, and I didn't hit the recording button. I'll show you the kill mail. So we've got small shield extender and 2 mediums. There we go again, the expanded cargo hold and load of salvage. This looks like it's from an explorer, and this is what I managed to loot. About 66 mil. So it doesn't even cover the cost of the tornado. Oh well. I think this part outside the 4-4 station is easily the busiest part of New Eden. There's no doubt about it. You might get battles that are bigger, but for ongoing presence, you can't top this. So if I get a kill this time, I'll try to actually bloody record it. There's a Sunesis. Let's just try and get him. And it looks like he survived. Wow. Let's see what happens. Well, I'm gonna get blown up. So here's a direct comparison. The previous Sunesis that I blew up, 2972, that's the damage that I did. This one, I did 4804, but I still didn't blow it up. So we can say that it must have been a lot better tanked. So I've just tried to chat to the person that I shot there to find out about his fit, but he's he's refused my invitation. Fair enough. And here's a Sunesis. Oh. And somebody else looted it there. So we'll look at the kill mail. So here's that kill. Small shield extender, multi-spectrum shield hardener. Nanos, which make the ship weaker. A shield rig. And wow. Faction stuff, blueprints. If we look at that, that's 462 mil. A 462 mil kill, of which 312 dropped. Sunesis being used as, I had 3 small shield extenders. Sunesis being used to ship really expensive stuff. I don't know what it is about the Sunesis that people think it's got superpowers. I mean, this is no different to using a Thrasher or a Corax or an Algos to move stuff around. I'm going to shoot at one last Sunesis, and then this will be the end of a video that's cost me far more than I was initially planning to spend, and with basically nothing but this video to show for it. And here it is, the last Sunesis. David Lucky Star. He walked to the station, he landed a few kilometers short, and now he and all of the crap in his cargo hold are part of my video. And how lovely to end with somebody who doesn't have expanded cargo hold fit. And apart from one shield rig and a damage control, basically no tank whatsoever, which is very considerate of him. So David Lucky Star, thank you very much for turning up to feature in my video. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you again next time. Bye now.